Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is In-Depth Analysis. So a few days ago, about 2 days ago, at the coroner inquest for justice for MOHBAD, the pathologist came out to say the cause of death for MOHBAD couldn't be ascertained. That's he couldn't find or see anything that happens to be the cause of death for MOHBAD. It's quite amazing because I can remember when Yasser Arafat died. If you know Yasser Arafat, the president of Palestine, when he was being poisoned by the Israelis, he was even buried. He was buried for months, not until the court in France gave an order that he should be exhumed and the cause of death should be looked into. And finally, they found out the cause of death. So I'm surprised to the fact that the pathologist said it was 8 days and his body was already decomposing, and that's why he couldn't find the cause of death. It's quite amazing. Despite the fact they said they took everything to the United States for finding. For me, I'm not surprised. It's just a case of justice delayed, justice denied. That's just the truth. It shows how weak our agencies are, specifically our intelligence and security agencies are. It also shows how weak our justice system is in the country. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at that fact. The truth is, in all of this, what I found out is how strong the strength of a woman could be. But I'll come to that. Let me just take you guys through an evidential memo relaying of what happened. Now, few days after MOHBAD died, about 3-4 days after MOHBAD died, the elder sister of MOHBAD's wife came out on Daddy Free's live, and she said she spoke to the sister that morning that MOHBAD died. That means Wumi was in close proximity with MOHBAD, few minutes or few hours to his demise. Secondly, this Wumi's elder sister happens to be a nurse in the United States of America. And Wumi failed to consult the sister, or she intentionally refused to consult the sister. But in that same interview, if you have listened to that interview, when MOHBAD was having memory loss, she was the first person MOHBAD and Wumi consulted. But now, they did not even consult her. They didn't tell her anything. Rather, they went ahead to import a nurse from Cotonou to do their bidding. That's one. Two, when they confirmed MOHBAD was dead, that was at Perez Hospital. The doctor at Perez Hospital issued a statement telling the world that he gave a recommendation that MOHBAD should be checked into a morgue, a close-by government morgue. But unfortunately, what happened? They took MOHBAD home, embalmed MOHBAD, and in that process, they denied MOHBAD a befitting burial, so to say. Now, when the father finally came into the scene, remember, they didn't even want to tell the father. All they invited was the mother. But unfortunately, the mother told the father, and the father came along with her. When the father came into the scene, the father wanted to check MOHBAD into a morgue. But what happened? He was denied access. Reason being, there was no police report and there was no doctor's report. Now, if you had read Darosha's statement he issued on his Instagram, he said he was the first person to go to the police station to report the incident. That means he was issued a police report, but he denied MOHBAD's father that police report to deposit MOHBAD into the morgue. If you had listened to me earlier, the Perez Hospital issued a statement that they gave a recommendation that MOHBAD should be checked into a governmental morgue. MOHBAD's father was denied that recommendation, which made MOHBAD's father to bury MOHBAD the next day, the next morning. Because for me, it's not even advisable a father watching his son's corpse. It doesn't make sense. So it's to tell you how far these people went just to avert an autopsy. If they could go that far, I'm not surprised. That means I'm not surprised at the outcome of what the pathology just said. I'm not surprised at all. So, and when all these things happened, immediately after the death, the wife came out, issued a statement. She was just, I don't know what to say. She was just talking to herself, saying they've buyed him. Who buyed him? Trying to rope in people that were not even there at the scene. And yet the whole world emotionally bought into her story without even doing their 1+1 or 2-2. They bought into her story and they started dragging people that weren't even there at the scene. And that made a lot of people left the main analysis, the main story, and was after a wild goose chase. This is quite silly. So in all of this, one thing I strongly understand is there's indeed strength in a woman. Why did I say so? Because everybody keeps saying, or every lady keeps saying, it's a man's world, it's a man's world. A man could do anything he wants and get away with it. No, I don't think so. I think it's a woman that could do anything she wants and she could get away with it. Now flip this story of MOHBAD around. Imagine it was MOHBAD that was in Wumi's shoes and he couldn't give any definite answer as to what happened to the wife. Believe me, right now, MOHBAD would be somewhere in Kirikiri cooling off. Imagine MOHBAD saying they've buyed her. Did they jump the fence or they came in through the window to buy her? You can't tell the world what exactly happened to your wife. Man, can't we remember the story of Osinachi, the female musician? Immediately, the husband was handcuffed and stoned into prison. Immediately, without further ado. Now, in this case, she's busy roaming all over the street, roaming all over the state, freely. Imagine when this thing happened, MOHBAD's mother came out, crying all over, crying online, telling the world, you must tell me what happened to my son. You must tell me what happened to my son. I believe we would have gone a long way. But the truth is, woman being a woman overshadowed the voice of everybody, most especially overshadowed the voice of the father. At one point, she even wanted to rope the father in, but the father acted with wisdom. Just imagine the father didn't give permission for MOHBAD's body to be exhumed the same way Wumi is running away from DNA up to this moment. And I find people coming online to say, yes, she has the right not to do a DNA, not to do a DNA. Man, imagine MOHBAD's father said no, his son wouldn't be exhumed for an autopsy. An autopsy that came out to tell us the cause of death wasn't ascertained because the body was already 8 days and it was decomposing. Man, I find that very silly. I find that sincerely very, very, very silly. When MOHBAD's father acted with wisdom and gave permission for his body to be exhumed. If not, even me self with a year for say, man, MOHBAD father know what happened to his son. But the big question here is, so after the pathologist confirmed that he couldn't ascertain the cause of death to MOHBAD, why didn't he come out to give his result? Why wait till 8 months? Why wait till 8 months to come out to give the result? Why? So that evidence could unclear. So that the no go fit find any cause to him death again. Why wait till 8 months? 8 months. This is totally not fair. And at this point, I believe everybody should stand up and let's mandate the DNA. At this point, I think the DNA must be carried out. Justice for MOHBAD right now is just the DNA. If you want to support justice for MOHBAD, then stand up and stand for the DNA. Thank you guys. If you've not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Thank you.